we have a philosophy that we try to institute on the ship. It's taught to every leader, even junior leaders. We call it the way of the warrior sailor. And the hypothesis is if we can improve morale to some degree, we're going to have better combat success. We'll also have success in other areas, for example, mental health or resiliency or doing well on inspections, right? So if we get morale up, other positive results will occur, right? But the question is, what is morale and how do we get there? How do we create it? So we look at morale as spirit, pride, motivation. It's not necessarily happiness, although happiness does play a factor in it, right? We want people, we know that people are going to have bad days, but what's going to get them through that day to the next day? And that's what we look at having morale high. All right, so to create morale, we ask that leaders love and value every single person on the ship so that every sailor feels loved and valued, right? That's not something you normally hear in a military context, but I think it's a universal truth. And the second thing is everyone must have mission and a purpose. So we define what the mission is, and then we make sure everybody understands their role within that mission. This is, in civilian terms, this would be something like creating job satisfaction, right? This is what we aim to get. We also like to create winning environments. So we know that leaders can determine what the game is, and they can judge the outcome. So they're both coach and umpire at the same time. So all these things create morale, theoretically, right? We have seen it work on this ship. We have hundreds of leaders invested in this philosophy, and it appears to be working. It is certainly working out here in the Red Sea in terms of how we're operating. We're very successful in accomplishing the mission every single day. Where morale fails, we transition to more resiliency measures, right? Where we have a strong complement of mental health professionals on the ship. A psychologist, several doctors, several chaplains. We have enlisted behavioral health technicians who are trained to process people who are, in their initial experience with a mental health problem. Mental health problems are universal in the civilian world. We get that. It can be exacerbated by this sort of environment, whether it be the combat situation we're in or the fact that we've been underway for more than 5 months. Right? Can you get my brick right there? Yep. And also not for sailors not getting to do port calls, which is sort of a Navy tradition, and one of the reasons why sailors sign up is to visit ports, see the world, go to places they normally wouldn't have gone to otherwise, right? It's the quintessential Navy sailor experience, right? So not having the port calls, extended deployment, morale doesn't work for whatever reason, which it is working, but it doesn't work for everybody, then we have the resiliency safety net. We also have a facility dog, that's the technical term. His name is Captain Demo. Amber deck. Amber deck. Amber deck. And his job is to just be around and reduce stress, and that's being studied right now, right? We also have a USO center where people can sit and relax and play video games on their very limited free time. We have a Wi-Fi system so people can communicate with loved ones at home every single day. In the past, we've always had email, but not every sailor had access to email. So with Wi-Fi, it's kind of opened up that aperture of connectivity or connectedness with folks back home. One thing I found is that some of my most successful sailors communicated with their mom or dad every single day, right? So I realized that when we're trying to create morale, we're trying to create a sense of being loved and valued. I realize that parents do a better job of that than I do. So if I can connect parents more with the ship, with their son or daughter on the ship, we can be more successful. So Initially, a parent wrote me and said, I'd love to see a picture of my son. And I said, okay, I will put a picture on social media and I'll say some nice things. And so I did that, and it just opened up the floodgates of people, lots of parents requesting to see their sons and daughters, and it went from there. And I realized at some point that I was also communicating to the world, like, here's an ordinary sailor doing extraordinary things every single day, and they're very young. I mean, we're talking about the average age on the ship being around 22 years old. And sometimes I have 19-year-old sailors highlighted, whether they're driving the ship, whether they're working in the reactor department, running nuclear reactors. It's just extraordinary things that these sailors are doing every day.